mindset. So what we've established today is that the mindset, the behaviour and the conduct from the 40s, 50s and 60s, 70s, 80s and 90s and now the 21st century is that Fagin mindset to destroy, dilapidate and ruin the young minds of our youngsters, okay? So bear in mind that that mindset has been here since the beginning of time. So it's up to you to change the narrative, change your belief and change your understanding.
Didn't care about anyone or anything, right? I just
it.
wanted revenge. They had everything to lose, I had nothing. So
same mindset.
Down the other end of the landing was Reggie Kray, and the IRA geezer slipped a blade in yet.
To another episode of Marvin Herbert's Nothing But the Truth. Today I would like to introduce you to a very long-standing friend, uncle and family member of mine, which is Bobby Cummines OBE. And it is my pleasure to bring Bobby to the masses with the same message that I've got, right? But from a different generation, because we've both been on a similar journey, different times of the evolution of the British underworld. So today, I'd like to introduce you to Bobby Cummines, OBE.
Oh, Marvin.
How we doing, Uncle Bob?
All right.
Good,
and your good self?
Do you know what? I'm absolutely, phenomenally, fantastically happy to be sitting here, right? 5 years after we made the
connection
with the business.
Yeah.
Right, because it wasn't until I met you,
yeah,
right, that I felt it was possible, yeah, for me, yeah, to become the man you are today. And the journey what I'm heading on, I want to be knighted, I want to be OBE'd, I've been to the House of Lords, I've been to the Downing Street, but you was the man that give me the initiative and the belief that people like us, from the world we come from, the environments, is possible to achieve that greatness. So I absolutely commend you for giving me the incentive, the belief, the avenue, the platform and the direction to achieve what I've achieved today.
But the thing is, what we didn't understand, we both didn't understand at the time until someone like us come along and say it now, it's our turn to give that to someone else. You always had it in you, but you were using it in the wrong direction.
Yeah,
you always was a leader, yeah? Always had that in you, same as I was, you know, always a leader, but we used it for negativity. Now we're using it for positivity. You can do wonders, you can do anything.
And we are doing wonders.
But what you've got to do is you've got to give that, look, as I've said loads of times, you can't get worse, can't get badder than what we've both done. And we've got to be honest, right?
No, you can't.
But look where we are now. So everyone's got that opportunity to turn their life around, but they've got to want to. It's no good playing that. You can't have a foot in one camp and a foot in the other. You've got to have it both together, and you've got to have direction. And you've got to sit down and think, where do I want to be 5 years from now? Where do I want to be 10 years from now? And it's like robbing a bank. You've got to plan it properly. You know, you don't just run in and stick a gun up. You're going to get pinched, right? So you don't trip up. You plan it properly. You take people's feelings into account. Because what we're doing this for now, what we're doing this very podcast for now, is to give our kids a level playing field, so they don't have the life that we had. We want them to have the life we've got now. Right. It's much better.
Talking about level playing fields, we're going to go into it later in the podcast. But
right.
If it wasn't for you,
Bobby
Cummines OBE, if it wasn't for you, I couldn't get insurance on my house.
That's right.
I could not get I couldn't get insurance.
You couldn't get a bank account.
I couldn't get a bank account, I couldn't have a bank account until 2015.
Yeah, I've done that.
Yeah, I know you've done that. And if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be legit. I couldn't be legit because I wouldn't have had the platform, the avenue, or the sort of the opportunity. Because the only reason, I never thought I'd ever make anything was because I could never have a bank account. I could never have a business. I could never get a mortgage. I couldn't do nothing.
That's right.
And because of you, I'll shake you out. I'm going to be shaking you out all day, right? Because of you, I've got all of that now.
Yeah, but you know, the thing about it...
No, let me tell and I mean, I'm not saying because of you, because of Bobby, I'm telling you, he changed the law in government and he changed the law so criminals, ex-criminals, could have a bank account and they could have life insurance, house insurance, home insurance, all of that, because you weren't allowed none of that up until the 80s and 90s. We weren't allowed that. We weren't allowed, I wasn't allowed a bank account. I wasn't allowed a bank. They were, bank account? No, refused, forever. So that's why a lot of criminals got kept in that world. And if it wasn't for Bobby opening that door and changing legislation, parliament and whatever it is, none of us would have been able to change. So for that again, Bob, look, it ain't just me, this is for the hundreds and thousands of people that have actually chose to turn their life around. And you've got to take credit for that, Bobby. I don't like it when you say, no, it wasn't me. I hate it. You've got to take credit. And if it wasn't for you, single-handedly, and your unlocked company, corporation, I'd still be in it.
But the thing is, now, and this is a thing that must really stick in everyone's mind, right? When I started doing that, right, they said it couldn't be done.
I know.
Said to me, you can never do it, right?
Just like I said, we wouldn't get to the top 5'8", you never make it.
Yeah. And they said, you'll never do it, Bobby. You know, we've been... And I said, you know, I'm glad you said that. They said, why? I said, because that means I've got no competition, all right? I'm going to do it. And what I did, the little secret, I'm going to tell you my little secret now, right? Because people go about my successes, right? I went and done it first, right? I got the deal done. Then I told them I was going to do it, right? Yeah. So I already done the deal.
Right, again, right? There's that same mindset, right? We don't talk about stuff until we've executed.
That's right.
There's nothing until there's executed.
There's nothing to talk about until you're done.
We're not talking, we're doers.
So we're on a conference, right? And
I love that.
I had Sir Stephen Toomey sitting there, and I said, I will get bank accounts for ex-offenders. And I went, and I will get insurance for ex-offenders. And if I don't do it, I'll resign as Chief Executive of Unlock. And everyone went, no, Paul Cavadino went, it can't be done. I went, if I can't do it, I'll resign as Chief Executive of Unlock.
Yeah.
And Sir Stephen Toomey looked at me, bless his heart, he went, don't say that, because if you said that now, you've got to do it.
Yeah.
I went, yeah, I know. I said, Lloyds, will you stand up? And they had the representative. I went, what have I got? They went, use insurance.
Boom!
I got the bank, right, some representative from the Bank of Scotland. I went, what have I got? They went, bank accounts for ex-offenders. I went, I don't know how to resign, do I?
Right, again, thank you very much, Bob, because I wouldn't even have a bank account. And you know what? It's wicked. I don't carry cash. I've got cars. I've got a business card. And you know what? It's the one thing that allowed me to feel free.
That's right.
Understand? And that is all down to you. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to just rewind the conversation and take you back to where it all started and how you became notorious and just sort of the caliber of people you mixed around in your younger years and then your adolescent years and then your adult years, you know.
Okay.
And I'd like you just to talk freely.
Okay.
I'll butt in every now and then, might ask a question.
Okay.
So I'm saying to, and then basically we're going to explore what you were.
Yeah.
Right. We're going to explore what made you change. Yeah. What encouragement you had to change and who it was from that give you the inspiration and the confidence to change.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So if you don't mind covering all of that, and I'm going to butt in.
No.
So do a few. Do.
Well, the first nicking I got was for a cutthroat razor, right?
Okay.
And it was a fit up, right? My first conviction, I didn't do. I'll admit to the manslaughter. I'll admit to the armed robberies and all that. I've done all that, but that first nicking was a fit up by 2 bent old Bill from Stoke Newington.
Okay.
It was in Finsbury Park, a couple of mile pals. I worked for a shipping office, right? And total straight goer at the time, and all my family straight goers, you know. And I walking through the park, and one of them let a starting pistol off. So these 2 old Bill come in, and they're having a go at the young kids. So I knew them because I went to school with them. So I went over. I said, "You can't do that." I said, "You've got to have a responsible adult here, all right?" And he went, "You know a lot. What are you, a lawyer or something? What you seem to know it?" Well, I said, "I know my rights, you know." And they went, "All right, Flash, Harry, we'll see you." And they went, and I thought, that's it, over. They walked back into the park with a cutthroat razor. They threw it on the ground and went, "We see you just throw that." Nicked me.
Damn. Right?
Nicked me. So my old man's come to the old Bill shop, and I went, he said, "What's going on here?" I went, "It's a fit up." You know, he went, "Policeman, don't do that." Now remember, my dad's straight goer. He went, "Policeman, don't do that. You still think they're Dixon Doc Green, that sort of clip you around the ear, old. I said, "I'm telling you, they fitted me up." He went, "Well, look, your mother's in tears." He went, "They told me, if you go guilty, a 10 bob fine. If you go not guilty, they're pushing for a ball stall, right?" I didn't give it monkeys, but my mum, you know. So he took me in the eye and all that. He said, I'll pay the £10 fine, we walk out. So he paid the £10 fine, but now I've got a criminal record. So I go back to work in Cheapside, you know, near St Paul's Cathedral, into the shipping office. Nice people, all straight goers, but really nice, and I liked it there. They walked in and everyone was sort of quiet. And they went, can you go and see the governor, Bob? I went, yeah, no problem. Gone in, I'm not thinking about nothing. Gone in, he said, I'm sorry. He said, we've got to let you go. I went, what? He went, we've got to let you go. He said, you can't work in the shipping office because you're handling documents, you know, like customs and excise documents. He said, and we can't have you with a criminal record. So I go home, see my dad. I went, thanks a lot. I said, got the sack. He went, oh, don't worry, you come and work me on like you run a building company at the time. I mean, I'm more fat than a greasy chip. I wouldn't make a good odd carry, you know what I mean? So I went, no, I'll make it my own way. And then I was done for the sawn-off at the age of 16. I'll give you a laugh, you know, I held up a post office van. Someone told me it was worth a lot of money. It was empty, they'd already delivered it. Mugged myself right off. You know, I don't mind admitting, made a right mug of myself. Wound up getting a 6 months detention, senior detention centre for carrying a sawn-off, double-barrel sawn-off shotgun and sticking up an empty cigarette. I'm so fat.
What year was that?
Oh, that was going back in the 60s something.
Yeah.
You know.
So 6 months for a firearm in the 60s.
Yeah.
That's when guns was pretty legal in this country, don't it?
But it was because I was a kid, I know. I was only 16. I was the youngest person in Britain ever to get done with a sawn-off, right? So then I do that and I see the brutality that went on inside them places and I thought, you bastards, if I got you outside, I'll beat the shit out of you with a baseball bat. Brought out the anger in me, you know, because they was abusing kids. It was a place where kids got abused, you know, and it brought out the anger in me. But I'll come out, I was fit because I'm working down the gym, ain't I? So come out, I'm extra fit now. And my dad's waiting at the thing and he said to me, you know, you're all right, what are you going to do now? I said, I'm going to put it back on them. He went, what? I said, I'm going to put it back. He went, what do you mean by none of that gun business? I went, no, Dad. I said, you know, I'm going to run my own business. I'm going to make money. Right? I didn't tell him what I was going to do. And
but was that like when you was inside? Did you actually sit inside thinking, you know what, when I get out? Because you was angry.
I was angry. I weren't angry that I got nicked because I deserved to get nicked. But
it's
the abuse that was going on.
the treatment.
Yeah.
So you, because of the treatment you was enduring obviously getting fitted up. Getting fitted up, you're angry. Fuck, I've been fitted up, dogs. And then you've gone away as an innocent person.
No, I went away as a guilty one on that one.
What I'm saying, but you was literally innocent because you never done it. Right, you got fitted up. So you're angry that you've been fitted up. You've gone away in prison. You're in prison now for something you ain't done.
No, I'm in prison. The firearm. I did do the
firearm.
Right.
Sorry, I apologise. Right. So you've done the firearm. You're in prison.
Yeah, I'm in there with the sawn-off and sticking up the empty post office.
So we got a stepping stones, right? So the first initial interaction, you got set up.
Was a
fit up. Then,
total fit up.
So then you've lost a lot of trust in the police at that time.
I hated them.
Right. So then
I hated them, and I wanted. I thought, if you're going to nick me for what I ain't done, now I'll show you what I can do.
Right. So that's the point I'm moving on to. Right. So you've been fitted up first. Then you've gone to prison. Then you're in prison for people that are supposed to look after you and get you in the right track, get you in the right place, and get you back out on the road to be a contributing member of society. And they're abusing you.
They're beating the shit out of kids.
Yeah. So now you're in there. You're thinking, I want to see you. Right. So now you're building anger, frustration. And then when you get out, it's the world and everything in it.
Yeah, you got it. You got it in one. I didn't care about anyone or anything. Right.
That's it.
I just wanted revenge.
So it's what I'm asking questions is because it's always a base of trauma that gets us in these places.
That's right.
And like I've realised with my life now the trauma that made me do what I've done, and it was. My dad created a lot of trauma in my life, so I reacted to my dad when I was growing up, and it built up certain things in me, which made me fearless, which made me ruthless, which made me unempathetic. Right. So you've done the six months. You're in jail. Right. You're getting out. You're angry now, so you get out after that 6 months.
Right.
Boom. And it's like
can't get a job. Don't want a job.
Don't want a job because you're making a statement.
Right now. So I go round to the cafe, a little Greek cafe it was, and the kids used to have like a bit of toast or that, but they do silly things like throwing bricks through windows, about. And I'm looking at it and I thought, you ain't...
Antisocial behaviour, they call it now.
Yeah, I thought, you've got to get organised. So they said, you come in with us. I went, we do it my way if I'll come in. We do it my way. Yeah. And they went, what do you mean? I said, we get organised. I went, there's too many firms about here for starters. There's not enough money for all of us. I said, so we've got to get rid of them first. So we had the razor fights and doing each other with hatchets and all that.
As you do.
And I thought, I thought, fuck this, you know, I'm getting blood all over my, you know, I'm very vain, I like my clothes, you know, I'm getting claret all over them, you know, and I thought, no, get a gun. So I went and got another gun, you know, and because when I went into the pub, because I've got to get, people go, where'd you get the gun? I got the gun off people who were older than me who were at it, you know. And
Listen, it's the same formula.
Yeah, so I go to this geezer, I said, I want a gun. He said, what do you want? I want a double barrel 410.
That was my favourite one as well, back in the day, a 410.
Because they're easy on it.
Exactly, yeah.
Sweet. So I said, and a box of cartridges. He went, what for? I said, I'm going to earn money. I said, okay.
Quick question. Did you have the rope through the trigger guard?
Yes.
There you go. So, come on. That's what I'm saying. It's all the traits, isn't it? It's all the same.
Yeah.
What I call
you swing it out easier.
Like what I'm saying, it's all the grooming traits you're taught by the older lot.
That's right.
Yeah. So these are all the programming we get to believe everything's normal and acceptable.
That's right. So I gets the gun and I've done that, and like there was people older than me, you know, who was going, Bobby, because they knew I'd let it off a few times, and
as you do,
and they knew I could handle it, you know, and it didn't really worry me.
No, they knew you had no fear.
That's right.
Yeah.
I've never feared nothing.
No,
still don't. But I've got people going to me like so and so, and then we're going back to the old days. I mean, we're going back when.
Let me just pause it there for a sec, because everybody's got to understand, right? We're going back into our mindsets when we talk about this stuff. So you might see me smile. I'm not smiling because I'm enjoying or sort of glorifying what we've been through, right? It's just the association and the connection and the fact that the grooming process that exists today with the older lot has been there from the beginning of time. It's from Fagin.
That's right.
And this is what I'm saying to you. So when I'm smiling because of the similarities from the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s and 90s. The mindset is exactly the same.
What you're seeing is history repeating itself.
That's what we're doing, yeah.
Right?
So, insanity. Barbaric insanity, I call it, because it is. Barbaric insanity.
Because what they're doing when you're young, when we were young, and when you were young, you know,
when everyone's young,
different times, there is 20 years difference between us when we was doing it, but the mindset is the same. They groom you like a paedophile grooms a kid into sex. They was grooming us into violence and pulling the trigger, right? Yeah. But I sussed it out because those going to me, Bobby, like, we've got a guy here who owes us a monk, you're like 500 quid. We'd give you like 10% if you collect it.
Now,
right?
500 quid don't sound a lot of money.
In them days, the average man was earning 12 quid a week.
12 quid a week?
Yeah, so I'm looking at
£48 a month.
So
£48 a month. So £48 a month.
I'm getting a month's wages for 10 minutes work. So I go around and bash them up or let one off. Yeah. And got the money. Yeah. But then I thought, hold on a minute, I'm earning this money, you're giving me this money, but you will drive back in nice cars and
big asses.
And I thought, no, fuck that. I can do this myself. Now I know how it works. Yeah. I don't need them. And if they come on me, I could shoot them. So they had everything to lose. I had nothing. So
same mindset. I had exactly the same mindset.
So I'm there, and I've learned how to do it. And then my dad gave me the greatest touch in my life. Really, I'm sitting there having dinner because never took guns in my mum's house. You know, I'm very respectful. We don't even swear in my mum's house. None of that stuff. So we're sitting there eating.
Listen, even today, you don't even swear in front of women. I've seen you. No women until you don't abuse. I've seen it. I've been out with you a couple of times. I've had a few meals. We've been out in company. And every time we're in company, I've never heard you swear in public. Me personally.
I don't do it.
Yeah, it's been years now.
Right. So we're sitting there. My dad said to me, he said, oh, George O'Reilly, he said, looks like his business. He kept going out of clothes. I said, what's that? He went, them kids throwing bricks through his windows. He said, his insurance going through the roof. I went, is that right? Now, being a schemer, right? I'm 17, right? It's coming up to 18. I went, is that right? He went, yeah. I went, well, how many signs of bricks had to go through the window before his insurance goes up? He said, well, 3. Out of that, it's not. I went, lovely. So I go over to see him. I said, look, all the Chinese and Indian restaurants was open up at the time. So I got hold of the kids and I went, do me a favour. I said, here's a couple of quid. When you put a brick through their windows twice, right? So, boom, it's happened. Then I walked in, because by now I've put my own firm together, right? Yep. Now I've gone in here, me and my mate, and I went, it's terrible what's happening here, because I'm always reasonable. You know, I said, terrible what's happening here. I said, your insurance going to go up, you're going to go out of business. I said, not very good for you know, people coming in to get their takeaway, and a brick hits them in the head. I went, I can make that go away. And he went, what? I said, I'll make that go, I'll make sure it don't happen in the first place. I said, insurance companies pay you when after it happens. I said, I'm telling you, take insurance out of us, and I'll make sure it don't happen in the first place. And he went, how are we going to do that? I said, well, when we come in, we eat for, you know, our little firm, we get our meal free. I said, then you put a little bit on the bill, and at the end of the month, you know, you give us
a little drink.
Give us a little kickback.
That's it.
And people call it extortion now, but it was insurance, right? And it worked. So
insurance for the working man in a bad environment.
Yeah, so we'd done that. And then we had the incident. I went out I was doing armed robberies as well, you know.
As you do.
And the only one that really upset me, I killed an innocent, you know, a gag. Tied them up on a gag and they choked to death, and I have to live with that for the rest of my life.
And hold there for a minute, right? Because what I want to explain to people is this.
Yeah.
Now, that incident there has haunted you till today.
Yes, still does.
And it haunts you forever.
That's right.
It haunts you, you'll never get away from that, right? Because when you take a soul, that soul stays with you forever.
Yeah.
And it goes nowhere. And you will have unbelievable, horrific nightmares, waking up sweating. When they speak to you in your sleep, they will come to you in your sleep like they're there. Why? What happened? You wake up.
It didn't matter when you was doing each other, because you all knew that you subscribed to that world. You knew the rules of that world. So, you know, some got killed. I always say, when that thing happened, when I was shooting people, I was an instrument of their own karma, if you like.
Yeah,
they were bad people, and it come back. And it was like with the fish and chip shop, you know. There was a fish and chip shop where my mum and dad, all of us as kids, used to go and get our fish and chips. Straight people, you know, little Greek people, and very kind people. And Tony the Greek came at me because we was doing the armed robberies and all the rest of the stuff. And he come in and he said to me, "You're never going to out." He said, "I've just had a talk with George up the road." He said, he said, the Turkish guys ran the corner. They was fixing cars, you know, like you had the old arches, lockups. And they was fixing it. He went, "They've got the girl on heroin, their daughter on heroin. They're trying to get her on the game." And I went, "Do what?" He went, "And they're trying to," he said, "and he wants us to, you know, want someone to sort it out." So I got a fish and chip shop, you know, and I said, "What's going on?" And he's crying, the man, yeah. And these are decent people, you know. They're there from like
good people.
12 o'clock in the morning, cooking fish and chips till midnight, working hard, you know, and they're straight people. And my mum and dad go in the shop. I said, "What's happening?" So he told me. And he gets a biscuit tin out, and he's got all rolls of money in it, right? Yep. And he said to me, "Man, I just want it to go away. I want them to leave their family alone." And he's offered me the biscuit tin with all the money in it. It's their savings, you know. Yeah. Well, I'd already shot a couple by then, so it didn't matter that much to me. Yeah. And I went, "I'll tell you what I'll do here. I'll make it go away." I said, "But if my mum and dad come in here, or any of the boys come in here one night, and we want fish and chips, we don't pay." I said, "Okay." He said, "The money." I said, "Forget the money."
Yeah. It was never about money. I was the same, but it was never about the money. Always a principle.
I see Frank when I go back to the pub, right? Because I didn't drink in them days. I drank bitter lemon, you know? I never drink. And I went, "Get Kennedy out." That's what I named it, sawn-off. Kennedy, President Kennedy.
Mine was Bessie.
Right? "Get Kennedy." He went, "What are we doing?" I said, "I want buckshot in one. I want you to take the buckshot, and I want rock salt in the other." Right? That fucking hard rock salt, yeah? He went, he said, "Well, what are we doing?" I said, "We're going to go and visit people." So he thinks we're going on a bit, well, we were going on a bit of work. Yeah. So I get out the motor. I always dress nice, you know I always.
Oh, come on, man.
Right? So I got out.
This is your loungewear, mate. This is all it is.
I've got the sawn-off under my coat, because I had my coat. I've got the sawn-off under there. Walked into the garage. There's one under the motor. So I've got the rock salt, and I've got boom, and I've done him, right? In the thigh, right? And I walked straight into the office where his brother was, stuck the gun to his head, and I went, "Off the manor in 24 hours, or this one is loaded, it's going to go through your fucking nut." I went, "You got where I'm coming from." They were gone, right? But I go down the old log cabin, I'm, you know, because all my pals drunk, all the firm drunk, and everyone's, "All right, Bob?" I went, "Yeah." And they went, "Heard the Turks are gone." I went, "Yeah, I've heard that too." And they went, "We heard you done it for a packet of fish and chips. What would you have done if they gave you a pickled onion?" Everyone burst out laughing. I went, "Here, leave that." But no, the problem went away, you know. And
hence the start of the reputation.
Yeah, and so it went, and they went, "It's fucking mad," you know.
So was you a North London boy?
Yeah, they all thought I was nuts, you know. They went, "They just shot him," and then I got shot. They come along in the car. 3 times they tried to assassinate.
Well, the same firm?
No,
other firm. This is other
because I'm still having wars.
Yeah,
right?
listen, I know, man. It's from everywhere, every angle.
They come in at you, and I mean, they blew the tiles out of one pub to shoot me. So I'm talking. Then they come out with the lights out. That's how you know silly bastards turned the lights out on the car and the windows coming down. You see, and they done me then in the leg, and then it was really funny. You know, someone got shot through a letterbox, and allegedly it was me who shot him after I got shot.
His name weren't Peter, was it?
No, I don't know. You know, it's just the geezer got shot, and they all went, "Well, he's fucking done it. They've shot him. He's going to shoot him." But it was 3 o'clock in the morning, and he lived that funny enough over the top of fish and chips, and someone rang the bell, and he had. I don't like them glass front doors. He's come down with a light on. The shadow's there, and someone's popped a gun through and gone boom and give it to him. And of course, I'll get blamed for it. You know,
as you do. If
you listen to it, you know, people allegedly I've shot all these people, killed all these people. You know, and you know, it's just bad news. But it's
just a mythological reputation pumping. Once people get an idea, or you do something bad.
Is, the people are spreading
Chinese
the
whispers.
The people that are spreading the rumours are not people that you work with. It's people on the fringes who hear it, and then they blow it out of proportion, and it gets silly.
And then the papers get hold of it. Your gangland is the big.
But the thing is, I always said to people, if you're at it, you don't go and display it. Low profile. I mean, we had a point stripping business. You know, I was a businessman. I told people I'm not a gangster. I'm a businessman, but my business was crime. You know, so you know, I'm not a bad person. I'm not bad mannered, and I don't mug people off. I don't like that game. But we had the Triads come on the manor, and Frank's come into me. He went, "Now I'd already done the 7.5 for the manslaughter, right?" And so I met all the Triads.
So was that 6 months and then 7.5?
Yeah, right.
Wow, that's a jump. And do you know what? Just hold it there for a second. 7.5 years back then.
Cool, it was
heavy
duty bird. Yes.
And I'm talking bird, what you don't want to do now. Like you, what? And that's what scared you from doing bird, right? And you're talking not 3 meals a day. You was lucky to get 2 meals a day if you was well behaved.
Well, not only that, you didn't have a toilet in there. You had a bucket in them days.
Yes. Straw mattresses.
Slopping out and all that going, right?
Slopping out.
So anyway, that happens, and so I'm eating there. I meet the mafia.
Yeah.
Like, because they was done for a £15 million bond swindle. There's the Triads in there. They've done all over millions of pounds of her in the Tong and the Triads.
Yeah.
With that May Wong business and all that.
All
that at Gerrard Street. And so, and then you had the IRA guy in there, and so
they basically run it back then, the IRA, wasn't it?
It was low profile in them days.
Was it?
Yeah, it was low profile. It was before the explosions happened.
Right. So before the 70s.
Yeah, and so I looked at it and got out, and they went, "This Chinaman wants to see you." And what I used to do, because I like Chinese food, I like Indian food. You know, obviously, I'm married to a Jap, so there's no racism in me. So. Yeah. Even when I grew up, we lived in a place where you had every race of people. Caledonia Road, it was like the poor man's area, you know. And so
is that where you're originally from, Cali? Yeah.
Yeah, and everyone left their doors open, so you could walk into the Italian's house next door, and you'd be eating proper Italian food, not the shit they're dishing up now.
And predominantly Italians around there,
and then you had Italians, you had Maltese, you had black people.
Yeah.
You know.
Not too many back then, though.
There was a few.
Oh, really?
Yeah. A lot of mixed race kids, you know.
Yeah.
There, and. We all went to school together, and then you had the Chinese, and you know, it was just because we were
multicultural,
and no one, there was no racism, and no one, everyone left their door, no one steal anything because we was all in one, we was all skint, so we all looked after each other. If you had something, you shared it, you know, and if you had a fight with one of us, you had a fight with all of us.
Unlike the rules of the road today,
and the kids could play it in the street. So anyway, this Chinaman come. He said, "Chinaman come." He said something about Triads. I went, "What?" He said, "Triads." Now I'm sitting there, I went me a bit of lemon, and I went, "We're talking about an heavy firm here." I said, "It's not like cutting each other, you know, this is an heavy firm." I said, "Get the guns, all get gunned up." So we go, and we arranged to meet them at Ivory Corner. They used to have the old coffee stall there at Ivory Corner.
Yeah, is that the Barclays Bank now?
Yeah.
I've got that now,
right? So go up there. Pull up in an old Vauxhall we had, you know. Didn't take a good car to a shooting, you know, because you had to crash it. Went to a new car. So, gone up there. I've got the sawn-off under my coat. I know I can see him. He's got something on it. He gets out of the car, right? He's got these, you know, the pilot glasses. He's got them on, the mirror ones, right? He's got them on. He's got the coat over his shoulders. I can't take him seriously. It looks like something from out of a 60s gangster movie, right? So I start laughing. So he's gone, I come to see Bobby Cummines. You know, he's expected a 6-foot geezer like this, right?
Big old lump.
I went on Bobby Cummines and he's looked me up and down like that. He went, well, what are we going to do? He said, we're going to bring some hello in. He said, and we sell it. He said, and we'll give you a piece of hello when you ain't bringing that shit on my man. And I went, we don't have that on my money. You understand me?
Yes,
and he looked at me like that. I said, I'm telling you, it don't come on here, right? So he's opened up his fucking coat. He's pulled out an hatchet. Right? He went, we chop people up. I went, is that right? I threw back the overcoat. I went, I'll blow your fucking head off. I went, how about that? I went, now fuck off back to Gerrard Street or wherever you come from. I said, you come here again, I'm going to blow your face off. I went, now fuck off. And
because back then, the hard drugs, what everyone sells, like water
you
nowadays.
never heard it?
What?
No,
didn't have that back in your day.
Bit of puff was all right. Maybe a bit of LSD. Some was doing poppers up and down, but none of that heavy duty.
Yeah. And I remember because I remember growing up, and this was like, I'm 20 years your junior, right?
Yeah.
So I remember growing up, and heroin was frowned upon.
Yeah.
Like cocaine, you never really heard about cocaine.
I'll tell you 2 reasons why we all frowned upon it. You couldn't work with anyone who was using it because if they were on the gear, when the old bill banged them up, they'd roll over on you. Yeah. So they were unreliable people. You know, really nutters took that gear, right?
And back then, everybody was really, it weren't, because it was like after the war and things like that, everybody was struggling to get back on their feet.
That's right.
Crime in the black market was something that was used as an everyday sort of currency frequency.
People didn't mind that you were banks. People didn't mind if you held up security vans or whatever.
It wasn't frowned upon as long as you never done your own.
As long as you didn't do your own, you didn't do the innocents. And if you shot each other, it was only down to arguments, silly arguments. Someone's had a drink too much and so aroused, and then it's gone to escalate and someone's wound up dead. But when you look at it, these 2 enemies, all my pals go, Coach, what are you doing? Bobby's created a war there, right? I went, they come back. I said, they ain't coming back to shake hands with us. I said, they're coming back to do war with us and we're going to war. Yeah, if they want it,
let's have it.
We'll give it to them. Anyway, nothing happened. They never come back. So that went on. That was pretty sweet.
So there's another notch on your belt. There's another step in the right direction in that world,
messing about with that mob, you know what I mean? I fronted them. And
all 5'8" of you.
I would have shot them. 5'6".
5'6", yeah, come on.
Yeah. So I would have shot them, definitely. I would have blown his head off.
I know that.
Because they were nasty bits of work, and they would have done on me, Yeah. And anyway, cut a long story short, we go and keep doing the armed robberies, and then we have a Supergrass go on us. Well, the old Bill was walking in a pub, and they used to go, hello, Mr. Cummins. I used to go, hello. And they used to go, we'll get you. We've put you away for 30 this time. And I said to him, look, you nicked me for Bartley's Banks's cottage. I've got to not guilty because I'm a straight goer. I said,
can I just pause you there?
Yeah.
Do you know my armed robbery I got nicked with?
Good.
Kingston Road.
Anyway,
it was 1993.
Well, anyway, this happens, and I think that's when they targeted me. They targeted me. And
that's when they recognised, that you was an absolute figure, and you were someone that they want to nick.
Well,
so
this is it. Well,
they had to target you, really.
The thing was, the name was going
blowing
about everywhere,
Triads.
and no matter how much you try to push it down, people start gossiping, and gossip's a terrible thing. It puts people in prison,
The mythological conversations people have about reputation.
And I mean, it even got so bad, like Professor Dick Hobbs said, it got so, Bobby Cummines, he was a friend of Joe's, and he said, we was hearing whispers of his name in another manor, he said, which was very rare in them days. People in their own manor knew, but you heard about this firm in North London, and Bobby Cummines was running it, and they were pretty heavy duty. So we had that, and it was funny because this Supergrass, this fucking rats got come into the firm. I said to my brother, he said, he's a gun dealer. I said, no, I know where I get my guns from. I said, no. He said, well, we can get you anything, get hand grenades and all that. So I thought he was a bullshitter. He was a yank. Yeah. He was the South will rise again, one of them lunatics. He was giving guns to Ku Klux Klan and all that shit. So anyway, he said, he'd get you anything, guns, hand grenades. So I thought I'd front him out because I thought
just to see.
I thought he was bullshitting, right?
Yeah, let's call him. Let's call it out.
So I said, all right. I said, go and tell him I want 2 hand grenades.
That's it. I want this. I want that. See
so
the shapes
he
up.
goes and gets me 2 hand grenades, right? And at first I think they're dummies, right? So I go to Finsbury Park. I want to test it out. So I pulled the pin out, threw it in the pond. Boom! It's gone up, right? I thought, fucking hell, it is a real one, right?
Yeah.
So I said, we keep that, right? In case we had, you never know if you're going. You use what you got.
When you're in it, you're in it.
Yeah. So I said to him, keep that in your house, right? So he went, yeah, right. So I paid him.
Did they call them pineapples?
Pineapples.
Yeah, pineapples.
Right. I said, keep that in your house. So he said, yeah, all right, Bob. And
sorry, pineapple was the hand grenade. That was the old nickname for them back in the day.
So anyway, he goes, I said, you put that other one in your house. I said, no, when I need it, I'll come and get it, right? Because I didn't want it around me.
Obviously.
So that was the game. It's not just having a gun, it's having a place you could store them, but get them quickly if you needed them. And normally use a straight goer to do it. So
we groomed the straight goers
to do
it. We groomed them.
Yeah.
And I'm not embarrassed to call myself an ex-groomer also, because I groom people to do some terrible things. But that is what it is. You make people believe they're okay doing something. You make them, give them a full sense of security to risk their liberty. And that's grooming.
All you've got to look at is the concentration camps, the Nazis, right? You had postmen, bakers and everything, and the mindset of the Nazi party turned them into running death camps, killing 6 million people. You can groom anyone to do anything, right?
And we know that.
Yeah, all right, it happened to us.
And us.
Right, so I'm looking at it, and he went, a friend of mine, I said, he said, can get hold of like machine guns. I went, yeah, I'd like an Uzi, right? And my bloke got me, what, are you fucking mad? He went, what, we're going to war? And he said, well, what do you want a machine gun for? I said, well, I want one.
I want one, yeah.
You know. So anyway, he said he can get me one. But then the old Bill, they've been targeting us. I didn't know they was targeting us. They're very clever. You never underestimate the old Bill. They got that intelligence-led policing, unbelievable. And you've not only got to watch the old Bill, you've got to watch who you're with in a pub, because you don't know if he's going to roll over on you or if he's an informant, or
well, they all do anyway eventually, don't they?
Or if you're doing banks, they're getting the reward money. You know, it's 10 grand. It was 10 grand a head if they nicked you and got a conviction. So if you've done 13 banks, that bastard got 130 grand off me. You know. So anyway, cut a long story short, they target me. They nick all my lot, but I'm not around. I'm at an hotel. I'm living in, it was the Tudor Suite and the Royal Sky Hotel, under the name of a dodgy name, Robert Croftshaw. I'm a scrap metal dealer. I deal in precious metals. I've got the guns under the bed, and I'm living quite well. Meals delivered, and because I knew there was a word out, we want Bobby Cummines, right? I was on a wanted. So people went,
and bear in mind, there wasn't all the CCTV, there wasn't all the technical like phones, there wasn't all the data tracking, there was nothing. So when you stepped off the grid, you was off the grid.
Yeah.
And unless someone made a phone call or someone put you in it, you was good.
Well, this is what happened. So I get a phone call, and it was this early. He went, I've got the machine gun for you. Now, what I don't know, I've got the Uzi for you. What I don't know is he's nicked us in an old bill shop. He's supergrassed everyone, right? So he said, come round my house and pick it up. So I think, yes, sweet. So I get a cab, right? Go round his house. I should have said, you know, when they say go on your gut feeling?
Yeah, always.
Oh, my gut feeling said to me, don't get out the cab. But I thought, I don't know, bit of madness went in me. I thought, I want to get that gun. So I get out the cab and I walk past this ice cream van, right? And there's a Rastafarian guy there, chatting to his birds, and they've rung the Tony Bell time. Now, what I didn't realise, when they done that, that was the positive ID. It was me, right?
Right.
And
what, the dreadlock geezer?
No.
Rung the bell, or the ice cream van?
No, the dreadlock geezer was an old Bill, right? Right? And so was the bird, right?
Wicked.
So they've rung the Tony Bell time. I hate that Tony Bell time. Always takes me back when I hear the ice cream van come round, right? And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, they sent a SWAT team, because even Charlie Richardson and Reggie Kray said they didn't send a SWAT team after us, you know, to send a SWAT team. They weren't out to nick me, they was out to shoot me, assassinate me. And they come from everywhere, they was up on the roofs. But where they were shouting, lay down, go down the middle of the road, lay down or you will be shot and all that game, you know, let us see your hands. all the neighbours started looking through the windows so they couldn't shoot me, could they? So I was lucky there. And I went, gee, fuck off. I'm wearing a £700 suit. I ain't laying in the road for you, mob. I said, driven, oh, and you lay down. I went, go on your pot. So they drive this Range Rover up. Put your hands on the front of the Range Rover. Then they pull the coat over your head to make sure you ain't got any tools on you.
And let me reiterate.
Yeah.
£700.
Yeah.
In the 60s.
It was a £2,000 suit.
Right, it's the equivalent of £5,000 suit, really.
Well,
£5,000.
Let's put it this way, you couldn't get better. Right.
So that's the equivalent of £5,000 suit. So £700 in the 60s. When you hear the figures, don't think now. Because we're not talking now. Right? We're talking when Bobby was a very young man. Yeah. Right? And this was like 50 years ago. Yeah. Right? So 50 years ago, £700 for a suit was the nuts. The nuts.
So anyway, they nicked me. I'll go in there and give them their due. They didn't verbal me up. They didn't have to. We'd done pages and pages of statement. And I'm looking at it, and of course all my brothers have been nicked with me, you know, because they was involved, and I'm looking at it, there's no way I can get out of this. It's too on me. The armed robberies, you know. But they went to the Crown Prosecution Centre and said, like, we've had a whisper, he's killed 5 other people. And they went, where's your evidence, you know, on that? So they said, if you nick him on that and he gets a not guilty, then the whole lot's gone. He walks. Or you can nick him on the armed robberies and you've got him. So they do the armed robberies. So I'm up there. And he's come, we're at the magistrate's court going up for committal, right? Committal. So I'm in the bog having a wee, as you do, because I've got all armed old Bill round me, because I'm the gang leader anyway, so Bomb is right on me. I'm in there and I can hear him walking down laughing and joking with the old Bill, like the screws coming down the
Well, the geez you got the machine gun?
The rat, right? So, Ernie, so I've done my flight, I've come out, I've boshed him, I've given him it right on the chin. With that, they're all on me, right? And they've got to go in court, and all the families in the court, and they're going, like, he's done him in there, you know? So they adjourn the case, and they bring us back. They go, is he all right? Yeah, he's all right. He's took a clump. That's all he's took. You know, chin him well, but that's about it. And then we go into court, and they want to put armed old Bill in the dock. They handcuffed me around the dock and made all my coaches stand in the front, right? And I thought, fucking, you know, what's going on here? And the judge went, we're not having that. He said, prison officers stand with him. We're not having armed police. They done
that with us, you know.
Yeah.
So armed old Bill in the body with us.
So they had to go out, and we had through. Then they sent us for Bailey, the Old Bailey. You got to go Old Bailey.
A horrible place, ain't it, Bob?
And it was the old Bailey, not the new Old Bailey.
I've been in the old part of the Old Bailey, right?
Well, I was up. That's when I met the twins, Reggie and Ronnie. That's the first time I met them. So I'm up there, and I'm thinking, fuck this, you know. And I come out the cell, and they're on trial for the murders and all that. And so it was Ronnie Kray. He went to me, what are you doing here? I went, I'm here for, you know, armed robbery, sawn-off and all that. He went, no doubt we'll be seeing a lot of you. I went, no doubt you will. Didn't know who they was. Knew the name, but understood, but you know that's Reggie and Ronnie Kray and, you know, the firm. And I went, yeah, right. I went, seriously, I was worried because I was worried about my own lot, what I'm going to get, you know. And I got mixed up a bit. No, I met them, that was the first, I met them when I got dumped and sawn-off, when I went to detention.
On the 7?
On the 6 months I met them. Or was it when I was, it was when they was on trial, I was on trial, no, I was on trial for the sawn-off then, right? So anyway, meet them, didn't know years later I'd be serving time with them again, and then I got the 12 for the armed robberies, and I get sent to...
So what's that, hold on. So that's a fit up, 6 months.
7.5.
7.5, and then a 12.
12, yeah.
So they're racking up, Bob. They're racking up, Bob.
I know. I don't know what's wrong with my head. I couldn't stop doing it, and I did like doing it, to be honest with you.
I mean, I know. I remember, mate. It's that adrenaline, isn't it?
So anyway, they send me. Everyone else is going to nice prisons. I get Albany on the Isle of Wight, right?
That was before it was a Nazi jail, though, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So it was.
It was built. It was built for the IRA.
That's what I'm saying. It was a horrible.
It was a terrible.
But then they've changed the status of it. But I remember hearing about Albany when I was a kid.
It was bad, man.
Bad. It was one of the worst jails in the country, wasn't it?
No, Parkhurst was the worst. It was electric doors in Albany.
That's what I'm saying.
You was only 6 cells on the spur, and the electric doors. And it was a brutal place, but it was getting beat up. And so I'd had a reputation from my previous sentence when I was doing the 7-off, because I used to call sit-downs and all that game and writing. Every time I'm throwing buckets of shit over screws on the landing and all that.
As you do.
So I've got a bad reputation anyway. I think that's why they done me Albany. So I'm in there and I was talking to a few people in there, and they went, "What's going on down that block? Bobby's fucking out." Oh, they said, "You know, bashing people." And it was our own people they're doing this to, right?
Yeah.
So I've got the ump about it. So I said, "Don't worry." I said, "I'll pull the governor when he comes." So the deputy governor's come in, and I went, "I want to see you. I want to work with you." He went, "I beg your pardon." I said, "I want to talk to you. Come here." You know, I've always been a bit arrogant against the system. He's come over. I said, "Look, that's what's going on down there. It's got to stop. You've got to bring the boys out of there. You know, we're not having it." He went, "I couldn't believe it. You would think yourself lucky, ain't you?" I said, "Do what?" I went, "Come here, you fucking rat." I grabbed him, right? And of course, I got all the guys round me because we're all on open up. And the IRA geezer slipped a blade in my head. There was no word spoke about hostage, right? I never said I was taking him hostage, right? He shouts out, he's seen the blade, who's taking me hostage? Of course, they've hit the bells and you get all the mobs coming in there. And I thought, if I let this fucker go, they're going to kill me. So I put the blade to him and I went, "You know, I've done one on your book, don't you? Been convicted of one." I said, "Half a dozen ain't too many. I could really do you." I said, "Are you going to call these fucking animals off?" I went, "And we're going to sort it." So I take him back to my cell, and he had the electric doors, you know, but you cut a wedge in the line, I put the wedge in there. So I spun him round, kicked him up the arse, slammed the cell door shut, put the wedge in, right? So I'm there for 3 days. So I think, 3 days, I think they wiped their mouth, don't they? They must have been spying on me, right, out the window. I took the wedge out, the doors opened, and they just lined up. I'm going to lay down, right? Well, I've been on quite a few, so I knew what was happening. They pack up your kit.
28 days here,
28 days here, 28 days there. I thought, come on.
Been there, seen it and done that one.
Yeah, and they used to exercise me at night, because as soon as you go in your neck, he takes hostages, right? I had to exercise on my own of a night. 4 screws on the corner, 2 dog handlers, no one speaks here, right? And when you went to the canteen, you had to write out on a slip in case you attacked anyone. I mean, they're writing me off like I'm a nutter, right? So.
Like you wasn't there?
No. So I just wouldn't. I told them.
Suffer it.
I told them. I said, like, when they asked me to do it, "Oh, will you walk over the table?" I said, "Oh, no." And they went, "Well," I said, "What are you going to do? Put me in prison? I've been in the block more times than I know about anything." I said, "You played all your cards." I said, "Difference is, I'm not playing. I can do whatever I like to you, look. I'm not playing." I went, "But you got to be careful now, ain't you?" So I shouldn't have done that. That got me shipped out again. So I'll go down, Bristol, I was laid down in Bristol for 28 days. They didn't want me, and they tried, no one wanted me, right, because of this hostage thing. A lot of bollocks, you know, but it's on my records, right? Yeah. So where do I end up? Parkhurst. I thought, really done it now. You know, I really ballsed up here. I'm in with all these people, like, it was like abandoned hotel you entered here. There's people in there with 30 years, never coming out. Some of the most dangerous psychopaths in the country. The only stop from there is Broadmoor, right?
Was it B-Wing was the naughty wing there, isn't it? That's the nutty wing.
That's the one I was.
Oh, was you on B-Wing?
Yeah.
Shut up.
Charlie Richardson was one. There was me, a Sanil Misery who shot the guy dead for Gaddafi. Yeah. He was in the next one. Next to him was Charlie Richardson. Down the other end of the landing was Reggie Kray, right? And you had all the others, right, around there. I mean, some of the top brains in the country was in there, like forgers, drug dealers, you know, and the IRA was in there, and like, but everyone was a potential killer.
But that's been the most notorious wing, because it was a notorious wing.
Britain's Alcatraz.
Yeah.
Right? Anyway, and you're all tooled up. And
what I'm saying, specifically B-Wing was notorious. That's where the people that are never coming. When I got to Parkhurst in the 90s, right? Yeah. And B-Wing was where the people never coming out and going on that one.
So I'm in there, right? And I mean, I've got on well with Reggie and Charlie, but Charlie was the guy who got me out of crime.
Can I just interrupt something for a sec, right? Because I heard that you made a peace agreement between them.
Yeah, what happened
was that true?
What happened was Ronnie Kray, because he was off his rocker, he was in Broadmoor in Somerset House 3. He sent messages down to people like, "Oh, cut him," or because he was nuts. He was not well, yeah. So he used to send these messages down. He would wind Reggie up and all that, you know, because they were like that, them two.
Yeah,
you know,
I understand.
Yeah, and someone went to me that a letter's come down to for Reg to cut Charlie, right? So it went to Charlie, and Charlie went. Charlie Richardson didn't give a fuck about anyone. I mean, he was in the torture gang. Not a sort of guy you want to mess with, Charlie. But he had a brilliant brain, right?
Good businessman.
He was doing long firms.
And you know what? I'm going to interrupt because I remember because I was intoxicated and obsessed with the villains growing up, and I remember seeing some pictures of Charlie Richardson and they was the first villains I ever see go Africa. Yeah,
he owned mines. He had mines in Uganda. Charlie, I'll tell you what. One of the most interesting men to do, you know, I ever met.
I read his book and
he used to like everyone who knows him. He used to cut. He used to get books. Me and him used to talk about philosophy, psychology. A very interesting man. You know, his brain was amazing, and he used to cut bits out of newspaper and lay them on your bed. You know, so like it'd be stocks and shares or something. You know, he
just
kept up with
stuff.
He kept up with everything. And he was the one who got me out of crime because he went, if you know, I'll tell you, you know, if you carry on the way you're going, Bobby, he went all this like gun stuff and all that. He said, he said, you go out there again and go out. He said, you've got to go to war with people. He said, so you're going to have to kill someone or someone's going to have to kill you. He said, or the old Bill's going to kill you. He said, or you're going to be banged up forever in here. And the joke in prison was if someone got lifed off and weren't getting out, they'd say, when's he getting out? And they'd say, Tuesday after the Krays, right? That was the joke, you know, Tuesday after the Krays, you know, because everyone knew they weren't getting out. Because where they'd done it wrong, when I was in prison, instead of keeping them up down and doing it, they started writing books and glamour, and no one's secretary in a million years is going to let them out when they're having films made about them and all that. So they kept themselves in prison. In fact, they earned more money in prison out of what they was doing with books and all that game than ever on the street. Charlie Richardson was a multi-millionaire. He was earning. That's why there was the row between them. They was jealous of him because he was the business guy, and also he didn't give a shit about them. You know, he would have gone to war with them.
Quick question.
And when that argument started, they went, because in there you can't be true to two. You take one side or the other. People started talking out, and there was people going, like, we fucking don't want this, you know. Because they want to get on their wives and kids, you know. You have to do it, but you don't want to really go have a riot, because in a riot there's no prisoners, everyone's getting stabbed up. So they said, well, can you have a talk? So I talked to Charlie, and Charlie went, we want no problem. He said, we go down to the gym now and do it now. Charlie would have had him over, I know that.
Massive difference in size as well, wasn't there?
Well, no, they weren't really.
Oh, really?
Most of like Charlie was about 5'8".
So I always had I don't know why I had the impression that he was 6 foot.
It's the name, isn't it? It's the name.
Right. I always thought Charlie was really tall.
Reggie and Ronnie.
No, I met Reggie. Reggie's your size, isn't he?
Yeah, he's only a small guy. So I went and see it, and I said, look, because no one knew how to back down.
Yeah.
So they went, Bobby, you know both of them. Can you go and have a talk? And I thought, fuck me, no matter which way it goes, I'm piggy in the middle. I really didn't want to be involved. I said, yeah. So I talked to Charlie, and Charlie went, no problems. He said, who he wants it, I'll have some. Go and see Reggie, the same. And Reggie went, well, you know, I'm not afraid of him, you know. So it was that sort of...
it's a bravado stuff,
bit of bravado stuff going on. And I had to think of a way around it. So I went, look, I said, you're both not afraid of each other. I said, put it on you. I said, you're both not afraid of each other. I said, but if it kicks up here, I said, there's a lot of guys here, got wives and kids out there. I said, and it's going to be a war game. I said, people are going to get hurt, down to nothing. I said, if you want to sort the problem, wait, you both get out, then you can sort it when you're outside. So I'll give them both an out. Right? And it went away. It went away, and they started chatting, and they were all right. You know, it was Ronnie who was causing all the problems.
Well, everyone knows that now, doesn't
he was a nutter. And he sends you these weird letters. Oh, cut him, and you know, and you think, oh, I'm really going to do
on a
good
different,
for you.
on the same subject, but I was trying to want to ask you, because you was in it deep back then, right? You was in it with everybody, you knew everybody.
Yeah.
Now, one villain that really fascinated me growing up as a kid was Bruce Reynolds.
Bruce is a beautiful man. I did my first television program when I come out, you know, when I started Unlock, I was going straight, you know, and that's when I met Bruce.
So when you spoke to Charlie and he gave you that information, was it after that sentence you actually tried to turn your life around?
Charlie Richardson got me into the Open University, and and he pushed me to get an education. I mean, I owe that man my life. Everything today, I owe Charlie. That's why I could never say a bad word about Charlie, right?
Can I just interrupt there?
Yeah.
Because I got a bit of bad press the other day from a few people, because I got the same information from someone that's been portrayed as the biggest gangster in the world right at the moment, like around Europe and Ireland and all that, Daniel Kinahan. But I made a statement and they put me in the paper in the Irish that, because I believe he put me where I am today, and I know I'm going to get to where you're going. So the similarities in your lifestyle, the similarities in your behaviour, the similarities in your conduct, and the similarities in your transition. It was like a mirror image, Bob. It's crazy.
I know.
Because he made me realise things about myself, my life, and where I was going, and that's when I thought, you know what, I'm going to do it.
Same with Charlie. Charlie, when he got a brain anyway, I go on the Open University and I get the learning bug. I started, you know, and sitting with him, like we used to have a loon. We had on Thursday night, we used to have a loon night.
Right.
And me and Charlie would have a cup of tea, and he'd go to me, right, we get a nutter in, because he'd been there longer than me, you know, he knew everyone in there. Yeah. And he went, because you're studying that psychology and sociology, he said, we get the real deals in, right? You don't have to read books, we got them living with us. So they bring in the loons, right? Yeah. So one's come in, because I used to be the banker, I used to lend people money. I was a money lender.
In the prison?
In the prison.
Yeah, that's it.
So that was my little need, you know? Yeah. So if they want to buy a bit of puff, they come and borrow a £5 off me or whatever.
And what was it, double bubble back?
I used to charge them, what was it, 25% or 10%, or it's all called what amount. If it was a big amount, then I say 10%, but if it was a small amount, it'd be 25%. Yeah. And they used to pay me back in canteens.
Yeah. I've got the same principle, it's all the same principle. It's different percentages now, it's double bubble now.
So they bring their canteens, we give them a list of their canteens, they get us what we want, so we all live well.
Yeah, it's all trading there, isn't it?
And I had a deal going on later on with steaks, and like Friday night I used to have the steaks nicked out the kitchen, get a geezer.
Did you cook all your own food then?
Yeah, we cooked there.
So in Parkhurst, was it always?
No, Parkhurst, you could go on the yacht plate if you wanted to eat.
No, but what I'm saying is, when I got to Parkhurst,
we could cook our own gear.
When I got to Parkhurst, you had your own kitchens, and we could cook our own food, because that's where I learned how to cook.
Like that then.
No.
But you could cook.
So what I'm asking, that's what I'm saying.
You had the cookers in the big diner when you can cook. But
did they actually go to the shops and buy you your ingredients and all that sort of stuff in Parkhurst?
Yeah, you used to go to like the tap shop and get it.
No.
Put the orders.
What I'm saying to you is, right, when I got to Parkhurst, you put a meat order in, you put a vegetable order in, and then actually go outside the prison, buy the products and bring it back in, give it to you, and you could cook it in. So that wasn't in play then?
It was, the canteen was opposite the Happy Hatch.
So they're all sweets and biscuits and things like that in the canteen?
No, they got sugar, you could get orange juice.
Could you buy meat?
You couldn't buy meat. No.
Right, so that's the point I'm trying to make. So prior to, before I went to Parkhurst, prior to that, your era, like the 50s and 60s and 70s, was it 70s?
Yeah.
Right, so you couldn't cook there then? So that must have come in later. No. I'm not about legally, like in Parkhurst, the prison would go outside the prison and buy you all your ingredients for you to cook your own meals. You didn't even have to eat off the yacht plate.
No.
So that weren't in play then, no? Right, go on. Sorry,
Parkhurst, as I say, it was Britain's Alcatraz, and it was dangerous. But most politest place I ever done birding, because if you didn't say good morning to someone, they'd get paranoid.
It's still happening when I got there.
And you get done.
I've seen people get oiled.
So so you all tooled up. But the canteen, what they call the canteen, it was like just a big tuck shop. Yeah. Opposite that was the Happy Hatch, where all the nutters used to go and get the largacts.
And sleepers and all sorts of medication.
And then I got called over by the psychiatrist because of my records, for violence. And he was dealing with people like the Yorkshire Ripper and all that mob. And I go in there, and I'm sitting off with fucking Dr. Cooper, Cooper's Troopers, we used to call them. Yeah. So go over there, and I'm sitting in his office, and there's a Mars bar and an apple on the table. So now I'm thinking, because don't forget, I'm doing psychology, you know, and all that game. I'm thinking, fucking, this is a test. If I eat the apple, it's Garden of Eden, the devil.
Yeah.
If I eat the Mars bar, it's all sweet and I'm normal. So I ate the Mars bar, I didn't know, it was his fucking lunch, wasn't it? He's come in, seen I've had his lunch, hit the bell, socio-psychopath, all these labels he's throwing at me, it's going on the record, I'm carted off down the block, and all I've done is eat his apple, you know? But it's on there for now, every prison I go to, because when you do Cat A, when you're coming to the end of your sentence, because they come up with parole, I went, stuff it up your ass, you know, fucking parole. Anyway, they've
I've done exactly the same thing on all my sentences as well.
I've done all my sentence, right? So they're going to send me to Maidstone.
I went Maidstone out of
right?
Park
Because you've got to go from...
No, I went from Maidstone to Park.
You've got to go Cat A to Cat B and ease you out, because they think, oh, you're doing that much, but you've got to be a bit touched.
Exactly.
So anyway, I go to Maidstone, and I've already caught a right in there before. So they really didn't want me. They threw me out. They was the ones who went, no, send him to Albany or wherever, but they were wanting. But anyway, I was on an Open University ticket. So they put me over the education, which suited me. And I'd already thrown buckets of shit over them, so they really didn't want to upset me.
So you was a subversive inmate rather than a conducive inmate.
Yeah, so they didn't want to upset me, because they did, you know, if they have a fight with a prisoner, they go on black, white, they didn't give the white, well, I had a fight with Reggie Kray and all that, but go, I'm covered in shit, there's no glory in that. So they hated me, really, but they give me this job, and this education officer really liked me, and this probation officer in there, because I turned the parole down, and he was good to me.
They thought you was insane when you done that, yeah. They thought I was mad when I done it as well.
Also, he was kind to me, this probation, because my mum died while I was in there. They took me home to see her once, but the old Bill wanted armed old Bill, and because she lived in the council estate, you know, and we needed money. I went anyway for the first time, and I had 2 sets of cuffs there, and the chain that goes through your leg of your trousers and your handcuff. And it done more damage than it done good seeing me like that, you know. And I said, no, not again. And then she died, and they was phoning up saying, Bobby, she's dying, you know. I said, no. And then the screw counter landed, and the screw hated me, and he went, Cummines? I went, yeah. He went, your mum's dead. I went, really? I said, now fuck off. And he was waiting for a reaction. He weren't getting it. I weren't giving him the pleasure. It broke me heart inside, but couldn't show. And that happened. And I done my bird, done my Open University, got out, tried to get jobs, couldn't get a job, right? Go and work in Tesco's, right? Packing shelves of the night time. And I noticed you've got the silly kids with the plastic wallets, and they think they're like Donald Trump running around. I noticed he's giving all the young birds all these like crisps lift up and all that. He's giving me, I'm 5'6", more fat than a grease. He's giving me the dog food, the big. I thought, fuck this. I'm earning $1 a week, right? But I've got a baby on the way. I married the prison librarian, right? My first wife was the prison librarian. She liked my poetry. And we wound up, I married the prison librarian. I've got a beautiful daughter from her. And so I'm trying to play it straight. And he's come round, I'll teach you, you've got to use the price gun. I thought, price gun, you mug? You know, I'll show you how to use a sawn-off, you know.
I've got a question, because I got given a bit of information about you the other day, right? Yeah. Because someone said that you used to go in when you was doing your extortion days, right? And you used to put a bullet on the side. Yes. But then someone said to me from North London, they used to run all the pubs around. I said, no, it wasn't a bullet, mate. It was a shotgun cartridge. Yeah. Was that correct?
I used to use both.
Okay.
Well,
I just wanted to clear that up, because someone said to me, I used
to do that with people when I was doing business with them.
Yeah.
Like,
so I heard.
I used to sit there and I used to say, you do business with me, we do it 2 ways, yeah? And I put the pound coin on, the pound note, I think it was. I used to put the money on the table and say, we all work together, no cards under the table, all the hands on the table. I said, we'll all earn loads of them. And then I pulled the bullet out and put that on the table with a shotgun cartridge and go, if you ever dip the till or try to fuck me, I'll blow your head off with that. So you've got a choice. I went, or you've got a third choice. You can get up, walk away now, and we never met. Yeah. But that's your choice.
I just wanted to clarify that.
Always done that. It was a bullet or a shotgun cartridge.
Right, there we go.
Yeah, so, now you know. Right. So I used both.
So then you went on your journey to...
I went on the Open University.
How long was you on that for?
Well, I've done the 3-year course in the Open University, but when I come out of jail, I'm pecking these shells.
Do you mind if I ask what year that was?
It's so long ago now. The only thing I remember in dates was when I got the OBE, and that was, I got that on the New Year's honours list, 20th of the 11th. So that was that.
2011. Do you remember what year?
Yeah, 2011. 2011. I got it, what's we now? 10 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
Only 2011?
Yeah.
Wow, so how long was you out before you got that?
Well, I started Unlock. Me and my mate started Unlock. He started it.
Was that after the sentence, getting out of Parkhurst? Yeah. So you got out of Parkhurst, you done the Open University.
Got out.
You got out, done the Open University.
Married my wife.
Right.
Had my daughter. Yeah.
So it would have been in the 90s then you got out?
Yeah, so 80s, something like that.
80s, 90s.
80s.
So I was going, wow, you was in, how long was you in jail for then, Bob?
I was in, well, 5, 7, 8. I did a total of, with all the sentences, actually behind the door, I did a total, I think, of about, I did 8, about 14 years behind the door.
14 years behind the door?
Yeah. So that, anyway, you know how it is, just got to do it, haven't you? Yeah. And I wouldn't take no parole, I wouldn't go, used to say to them, no, you ain't keeping a fucking watch on me, you're going on your bike. Yeah,
I had the same mindset.
And so, I worked with this geezer and I thought, got to stop. It got a little bit like showing up in front of the birds, this guy. So I waited for him to go in the freezer. And I thought, right, I'm going to put it on you now. Now, don't forget, I'm a straight guy. I walked in there, I went, listen, I'm marking your card. I went, don't ever fuck with me. I said, because see that meat hook? I'll hang you up on there. I said, and I'll cut your ass with a butcher's boning knife and I'll cut your eyes out while you're looking at me. I said, okay. I said, now fucking start my back. Thought no more of it. Walked out, carried on with his job. Next thing, he's running the office, locked himself in, phoned up all the security. So the security's turned up. If you don't come out the leave the premises, we're going to call the old bill. Now I've only been out a little while.
Can I just ask you to do me a favour? 1 second. Just stand up a minute.
Yeah.
Oh. That's what I mean. Powerful. Small thing coming. The best thing coming small packages, Bobby.
So anyway, I said that to him. So I have to go to my wife now. I've got my little lunchbox with my sandwiches in it. You know, she's a beautiful woman, my wife. I couldn't say a bad word about her even now, you know. She's a solid woman. So she said, what happened? I said, well, I had a bit of an industrial dispute. I said, and I couldn't tell her, you know, that I threatened him. So anyway, I lost the job. So I had to get other jobs. Yeah. So what I've done, I found out all the building firms that have gone defunct, all the building firms that got defunct, and then I bought them, made up my own CV, right, sent them out to companies, and when they said, what company you work for, of course it was the building companies, and then they'd send them, my pals would go to my pals' addresses, my pals would send them around to me, I'll write out my own, like, beautiful CV, what a wonderful guy I was, and I get the job. Right, you have to be creative.
Come on, you have to, man.
So anyway, gets the job. Then Unlock started. I started Unlock. I started buying jewellery, diamonds, that sort of thing. I'm good at
precious metals and stones.
Yeah. And I used to buy marble. I used to buy it from India, Patiala. You know, because it's better than Italian marble. It's really good marble. But I stopped doing that when I found out they was using child labour. I wouldn't deal with them like that.
So you had a lot of it. The one thing I'm noticing about, because someone said it to me the other day, I said to him, I rang him up, I said, mate, I ain't being funny. I said, I'm just sitting with company now, and because this is a multi-millionaire guy, I said, you said to me one day that the reason why you communicate with me is because of my integrity. Yeah. Now on the scale from 1 to 10, what would you say my integrity was? He said 15, without a shadow of a doubt. And that's what I'm kind of noticing with you. Yeah. Like, so the similarities, personality, character, behaviour, conduct, you know, and you seem like you had a hell of a lot of integrity, Bob.
The thing is, I look at it this way. I'm very good, I was, and still am, I'm very good at getting money. I'm not very good at keeping it. I'll give it away. I'm one of them, you know?
Do you pick things up quickly when people...
Cool, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm like. I just pick up, like, really, like, I understand things really,
really quickly. And the thing is, I can't do something. I have to be the best at it. I think this little guy's got big egos, you know, and my ego must be about 7 foot tall and 5 foot wide, you know. I have to be the best at it, you know. I'm not satisfied. And then once I've done it, to be honest with you, I lose interest.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same. It's
mad, the similarities. I want to do things that no one else wants to challenge. I like the challenge.
That's what I was like.
Right? And I look at it and I think, no, I can do that. You know, the worst thing anyone can say to me is, you can't do that. And I go, and I say to them, no, you can't do it. I can do anything I want, you know. And so people say, you don't give a shit. And I did it, you know.
So that mindset, again, mindset, right?
You've got to do it.
The mindset's solid, right? And the belief, everything.
You've got to believe, listen, if you don't believe in yourself,
no one else can believe in you.
How can you expect other people to believe in you? Yeah. And the only way you can get that respect is not by talking about it, it's by doing it.
Achieving.
It's about results. People judge people by results.
Execution,
right?
Learning.
And you just look at it, you plan it. And I said to him, I went, you know, when you plan your business, you're really good. I said, look, it's no different from planning a bank robbery. It's no different from planning anything, planning a fishing trip.
Yeah. Everything's the same.
It's detail. You look at all the details, and people said to me, no, and then did you, you know, you deal with people. I said, in the old days, I used to call it triangle of education, right? It was pure violence, really. It was first you educate them. If they don't learn from that, you intimidate them. And if they still don't learn from that, then you eliminate them. And that was my philosophy here, right? And
so that was the world we lived in, right? That was the choices we made.
But it's the same in business. First you tell people how you're going to do it, right? If they can't come along, then you train them, right? To how you're going to do it, so they can do it with you. And then if they still can't get it, then you've got to go, right, you can't be part of the firm because you ain't got belief in it. You've got to believe with all your heart you can do it.
I'm getting to Buckingham Palace. Watch.
And you got
just like Bobby.
You got to believe that. You got to believe. But
did you actually, when you started on your journey, did you believe he was going to get to Buckingham Palace?
No, I didn't even think of it.
When they sent you the message and said you're coming to Buckingham Palace, what did you think? Did you think it was a wind up?
It come in an envelope, and I thought it was a couple of the boys done a laugh, you know, wind me up. So Deborah, who was my PA at the time, I was running Unlock, and I turned it from six.
No, because the Unlock went boom, it went through the roof. Unlock, didn't it?
It became a national charity.
It's massive.
Top 5 massive. And worth £2 bob. Because I used to go to the schools and I used to go into the prisons, but they didn't, because they didn't know how it worked. They were all straight goers. I was the only one. Well, we had one there. He was a petty thief, right low life. But I took it, and me and Mark Leach, we was on that radio and television 24/7. That's how we.
I remember it.
And people was going like, these guys, and the politicians started knowing it, because I get on the box with them, and before I even planned that when I was on interviews, I'd find out about everything that guy's done before I went into that studio, and I'd.
Same thing again. It's having everything lined up, isn't it? Getting your ducks in a row.
Yeah. So if he come out with like called me a gangster, I could say to him, yeah. I was a villain, but you still are. Now we know all about me because we've had me all over the television. We've got me in books, so my life is an open book, right? But now I can look at you. Let's see what you've got in your cupboard, Mister. And they makes them very nervous, you know.
Yeah, it does.
And truth always does. So
nothing but the truth.
Yeah.
And unless you're like us, the truth hurts.
Cool.
But the truth don't hurt you. Truth don't hurt you? Does the truth hurt you?
No, in fact, I love it.
I love it.
Do you know, most of the things, people go to me, you know, the education you got, the way you do things. I said, look, everything I've learned off of someone else, even when I was a villain. But I'm grateful to them for that, because it's made me the man who I am today. Obviously, I did my open university degrees and going.
Do you know what? Even just I just done my open university degrees. No. It's an open university degree, right? Now, the open university degree, right there and then, is give you the opportunity, right? The opportunity, this is a gun-slinging, manslaughter, armed robbery, kidnapping, like, what was it, hostage taking, right? Nutcase of an insane, barbaric, insane man, does an open university and then gets to Buckingham Palace. So the power of education. The power of education gets people like us into places we never dreamed of.
I've always said this, and that's why I'm very heavy and supportive of the Open University. Education was my liberation. Education is liberation. Yeah. Right? Now, first off, I was made a Life Fellow of the Royal Society of Arts and Commerce. Right? That was the first letters on my name, FRSA. Right? Life Fellow. And I wasn't just I was a Life Fellow.
Yeah.
Then I got I was made an honorary master of the Open University. So I'm a honorary master of the Open University now. And then I got the OBE, Officer of British Empire.
Ah! That's what I'm saying. You can't make this shit up. You can't make this shit up. Like hard work, determination, education. Come on, man. Like, look, don't listen to your groomers. Don't listen to the people. Educate yourself. Look, educate yourself. Come on, man.
Bottom line is...
Sorry, Bob. Right. Don't wait till you spend 14, 19 or 20, 30 years in prison to actually get to the point where you tell yourself it ain't worth it. Don't wait. Go and get an education now. Yeah? Now, you're going to spend 3 years educating yourself, and then you're going to have the ability to make millions if you're educated. Listen.
But the thing is, all you've got to look at, right, all you've got to look at is if it was any good, because I love money and I love the power of the...
Come on, man, everyone does. That's why we missed so much for so long, Bob.
But if crime was that good, I'd still be doing it.
Come on.
I'm not.
Me too. Because I was at the top, he was at the top, and where are we now? Grafting. Yeah. Proper. Yeah. Grafting. Yeah?
That's how it should be.
No red tape, no dramas, no prison, no shootings, no killings, just pure love, family, and freedom. Freedom.
And the thing is also what you've got to look at. It's not about me and you now. We're coming to the end of our lives.
We've got to educate everybody.
We've got to make sure that the legacy we leave behind for our kids for the future is a good one.
Yeah. So my new logo, my new slogan is, you're going to commit crime, you're going to risk your liberty, you're going to go to prison, you're going to mix with the biggest, the baddest, the most fearless. For what? For what? For what? To turn around and go in the other direction. Because every man at the top has turned around at some point in their life. Or they're still in prison, they're dead, or they're, still in prison or dead. Still in prison or dead. Still in prison or dead. Or they're addicted to drugs, drink, or badness. Yeah. That's it.
Well, the thing is, I mean, you used to hear them when partners, when I get out, like men are 60, when I get out of it, and I look at them and I think, you ain't got another bit of work in you.
You ain't got another bit of bird in you, let alone another bit of work.
You're lucky if you're getting a Zimmer frame when you get out of here, son.
I see a couple of people dying, I see a couple of geezer died in...
I tell you what, people say prison's like an holiday camp, and I'll say, I don't know what fucking holiday camp they went to, but I've seen geezers slashing their wrist, topping themselves, and one of my best pals stabbed to death over an onion.
Over an onion?
Over an onion. He's
unreal.
Rocky eye, he was stabbed to death over an onion.
I see someone get a bucket of oil thrown over them, over half ounce of snap, half ounce of tobacco.
Yeah. And that was the thing was people go, oh, that was on a regular occurrence.
Yeah, regular. You just don't hear about it out
People just sitting there watching telly, someone get a jug of boiling water with sugar in it and come up and tip it over their nut, burn off their face off.
So would you agree that you getting an education was the best thing you could have ever done?
Absolutely.
Right, did you reach the pinnacle part of the criminal underworld? The top? To me, you reached the top. Because the top is this. When the people at the top fear you, then you're at the top.
Well, the thing is, I don't think it's that. I think what it was, I mean, with Charlie, because I always talk Charlie, because I read the eulogy at his funeral, you know, he's my best friend.
So you made it to the, right, look, I'm not having it. You made it to the top. You was at the top, You was at the top, mixing with the top, doing what all the top people have done, Bob.
You didn't think like that.
No, but I know, listen, the point I'm trying to establish is this, right? You might not believe what you were, because you were that. Like me, I didn't think I was the biggest thing in England. I didn't think I was the biggest villain on the planet. I didn't think I was mixing with the top people from all around the planet. They were just my mates. That's right. They was my mates. But in the media, we're all portrayed to be certain things. So let's look at it from the media perspective. From the media perspective, you made it to the top.
In the media?
In the media perspective, you made it to the top. So you was at the top of the ladder. Yeah. Right. So making it to the top of the ladder, was it more gratifying making it to the top of the ladder or getting a university degree?
Getting a university degree.
Boom! Getting a university degree. Now, I made it to the top. I made it to the top. I made it to the top of the ladder that I was climbing. Me, right? But going to Downing Street, getting personally invited to Downing Street because I educated myself, I stayed away from crime and I stopped hurting people, made me get to Downing Street. And that was the biggest achievement of my life. After all the badness I'd done, it meant everything to me. And everything I'd done in that bad world meant nothing at that point. Nothing at all. Nothing at all. Nothing at all.
I tell you, well, you've just got to wait because there'll be a better one. Is when they take you to Buckingham Palace.
Bob, listen, if it weren't for you, I wouldn't have had the belief. But I know because of Bob, I'm going to get there. I know I'm going to get there.
You know, when that was so the OBE letter came through, and Deborah went, no, it's real, it's got the stamps on it, all the gear. I went, phone up the Chancery office. I went, this is my pal's doing a wind-up. I thought it was a wind-up.
Yeah.
Phone now.
As you would.
I said, give me the phone. I went, look, this is Robert Bobby Cummines here. I said, I've got this letter. I said, something about an OBE on the 2011 New Year's honours list. I said, I think it's a couple of pals of mine having a prank.
9 years ago?
Yeah. I said, so, I said, you know, they went, no, we'd like you to have the OBE, but you're not allowed to tell anyone, right, until the new year, because it comes out in the
honours it, yeah.
So, all right, so it's the real deal. So I go to my wife, a Yumi, my Japanese wife, and she went, what's going on? I said, well, I can tell her. I said, we're going to Buckingham Palace. And she went, what? I said, we're going to Buckingham Palace to see the Queen, aren't we? Right? So they don't tell you you're going to get, because you could get the Queen, you can get, you know, Prince Charles,
Prince Philip, or whoever.
Yeah. Right? So I want to know, because I didn't want to get it off of one I didn't like.
Yeah.
So I thought, how can I find out? See, this is what happens with the scheming bit.
Come on, man, that's what we're about. We need to know, we want to know, we get to know.
How can I find out? So I phoned him up. I said, look, my wife is Japanese. I said, if we're coming to see the Queen, she has to wear a pink kimono with a gold sash. If we come to see a lesser member of the royal family, she wears a blue kimono with a silver sash. All right? So I said, she don't want to be disrespectful. You know, she's Japanese, they're very respectful people. And they went, tell her to wear the gold sash. That's when I knew I had the Queen.
Wicked.
Right?
How did that make you feel, Bob? Be honest, how did it make you feel when you was going to meet the Queen?
I'm an out royalist.
Come on. Guys, I want to be touched by the Queen. I want to be touched by the Queen.
It was a big thing, you know. At first it was shock, then I was sort of elated, beyond imagining. Because I remember when I was a little kid, my dad said to me, when we was looking at changing the guards and all that, and there was the people going through with their top hats on and all that. I had to wear a top hat. I looked like the Artful Dodger out of Dick Whitton, out of Oliver Twist.
Yeah.
But he went, when you go through that door, that's when you know you made it. And they were both dead, my parents, and I thought, I hope you see me going through this door now. Yeah. So we've gone in there, and they call your name out, what you're getting, you know, because people, they're getting all different things. And and it's Robert Cummines, and she's there on the platform. Walk out, and they give you a thing, you can't turn your back on her, you know, when you back her up. So go through the protocol of that, and met her, and she said to me, people say, what did the Queen say to you? You have a million things you're going to say to the Queen, but when you're in front of you, it's like looking at your mum and you're a naughty boy. You just, there's a power there, you know, you just go.
Different.
And she went, I must say, she said, I've never met anyone before with such a colourful background.
So they read up about you then, they must have.
Yeah, she knows all about you. And I thought, that's the poshest way anyone's ever said to me, by God, you've got a lot of villainy in you, you know? And she's beautiful, but I was over the moon, and then when you come out, you walk through, you come out, because she puts the medal on you. They have a little walk, and they don't pin the medal on your clothes, they lay it on the hook that goes in the pocket. And come out, and the bloke went, congratulations. He said, sir, he said, you're an OBE, an officer of the British Empire.
Officer of the British Empire! Officer of the British Empire!
So anyway, I go back, sit with my wife, and she's all in her kimono and all that. When I come out of Buckingham Palace, all the people take your photograph. They're taking photographs of my wife, because she's in the kimono and she's looking the part. I went, oh, you know, that one, the guy with the OBE, I've got the top hat, and we were all laughing about it. But it took my wife, she has to stand on a little white cloth, and they dress her. She had to have her hair done, they dress her. And they have to put all these different levels of wraps on, you know, and she had to have the socks with the split socks for the shoes and all that. I'll show you the photos later.
Oh yeah, we'll see them all. They'll all go up on the podcast anyway.
And she couldn't believe it. She said, "Well, the other day, funny enough, was talking to each other on the phone, on the text thing." And she went, when I looked back, she said, "We really done it." She said,
"We really done it. You really did."
At the photo, you know. And she said, who else gets to go to Buckingham Palace to meet the Queen?
And that's what I'm saying, from rags to riches, success, all because of an education.
That's it.
Right, so what these youngsters have got to understand, education is the key forward, and that's the way forward. The governor of Unlock, right? Nothing but the truth. Get yourself an education and make yourself a life.
I'm not the governor of Unlock anymore. Don't have nothing to do with it.
Well, you're the founding member, you're the man. But listen, you're the man that changed the rules, mate.
Changed the rules, but
you changed the rules.
I don't have nothing to do with it now.
Okay, well, he started
Wipe me out, yeah.
Right, he started Unlock, changed the lives for millions of men who could get bank accounts, life insurance, and a future. So, Bobby Cummines, thank you very much for your time, Uncle Bob.
This is your life.
What a blinder. What a blinder. It's another fantastic podcast. I'm so honoured to have Bobby Cummines, Uncle Bobby Cummines OBE, sitting in a so-called hot seat, people like to call it. But like I say, the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So when we've got nothing but the truth, we have so much harmony, so much understanding, so much synergy to get the right message across. You're risking your liberty for everybody's attitude, everybody's admiration, everybody's greed. The Fagan's mindset is not going to set you free. They'll make you believe that you are going to become the biggest villain on the planet. They're going to give you products that will get you put in prison. They're going to give you products that will get you shot, killed. They're going to give you items. They're going to convince you. They're going to encourage you. They're going to massage your ego. So you do what they're not prepared to do. For what? For what? So if you like what you see, don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. And stay tuned, because we'll be back soon with another fantastic podcast with nothing but the truth.